Hello, Luc, and welcome to Your Turn podcast. And today we're going to talk about enablement and how you became such a specialist in enablement. And that's why I want to talk about it. And in 20, maximum 30 minutes, we're going to give the listener actionable tips on how they can start or expanding on their enablement. So maybe briefly, who is Luc and why is he knowledgeable to talk about enablement?
Well, Cedric, thanks for having me in this podcast. I believe in the strength of commercial teams and their individual contributors, the value they bring for their customers as for their organization. And that is why I help them in creating incremental improvements in all their different activities. I'm working as Global Sales Director for Sales Excellence at Materialise Software.
Okay, great. And a lot of things you said already that we can pin down on. You say incremental changes. So maybe we can go a bit deeper into this.
Yeah,
What do you
why
mean
why
with
why not?
incremental?
Well, what I mean by incremental is when I'm looking to the activities, sales, everybody in a commercial function is performing. It is a sequence of different activities within the way customer buys.
Mhm.
Very often I hear people say, yeah, our conversion rate is 20%, or conversion
Yeah.
rate is 30%. But I believe you shouldn't look into an overall conversion rate, but you should look into every conversion rate of every conversation. As a matter of fact, you want to guide the customer to having impact.
Hmm.
And be from your first interaction with them, may it be digital or may it even be virtual, till the moment they get impact from what you are offering, you are interacting in different ways. And
Yeah.
if you succeed in creating small improvements in every interaction, you start to create incremental improvements. So I don't believe in a big bang.
Yeah.
I'm a strong believer in small incremental improvements, which improve your commercial performance as an individual or as an organization.
Yeah. Yeah. I strongly believe this as well because evolution does not go in little steps. Maybe you do the little steps, but with these little steps, you can have massive results. And I think that's also a good point. And to go to, you say incremental steps, which implies continuous learning. If you look in the market, there's still a lot of companies that have this maybe 1, 2 onboarding sessions when they join a new role. And then they expect, okay, right now the salesperson can be on the phone or can go visiting clients in the office. So how do you look at an onboarding then to develop an enablement strategy around?
Well, I do believe if whatever information or research you consult on how people learn, there is only a limited learning within the classroom, even if that is virtual.
Mhm.
A big portion happens by doing, by applying.
Yeah.
And that is why I think for every onboarding, it should not only consist of classroom trainings or digital trainings on the content, but there should be a big portion where people can practice in a safe environment. And getting better through mentoring or through
Mhm.
coaching, and so that they become strong before they go into the first interaction with customers.
Yeah, yeah. And I really like that you say safe environment. And maybe for this, we also were doing a lot of role plays. We had weekly role plays with the entire team. And when we had guests over, we wanted to see how it works. They were extremely impressed, not just by the results, obviously, but also how direct we were in giving our feedback. And it was given in a safe environment. So I think it's important that feedback can be direct without losing that safe environment. How do you go about this?
Well, I fully agree with what you just said. It is about giving feedback with the intention to learn
Hmm.
and not to blame.
Yeah.
And therefore you need to set the scene as a sales leader when organizing these role plays, that the feedback is there to learn and not to blame.
Yeah.
And as a sales leader, you have an important responsibility in it. Now, what I encourage teams to do is not only to do role plays with their sales leader, but also with peers.
Yeah.
And learn from each other, and give honest feedback to each other, because they get daily in the same situations. And I have an experience where we started from the leadership organizing role plays, but then people spontaneously started to do their role plays with each other.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
that multiplies the impact you can create within your team, rather than wait again for the sales manager or the sales leader to initiate it.
Yeah. 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 Sounds great. And how do you start at it as an organization? Because I can imagine that when you don't have either that type of culture, or it's maybe people are not used to having that continuous training, even the peer-to-peer training. How do you start with this?
Well, I think you need to start and build a cadence. Build a cadence for this kind of activities, because it takes a while before an activity becomes a habit.
Mm-hmm.
And if you wait, yeah, we will start planning it, it will never happen. That is therefore. My advice is start a cadence, and make it part of your sales heartbeat. Very often I hear organizations say, yeah, we have a sales meeting every week. We have a quarterly review. But I hardly hear them, yeah, we do role plays every 14 days or every month,
Yeah.
depending on let's say, on the need within that organization. And I think make it part of your sales heartbeat, and then it will become a habit, and people will not question it anymore.
Yeah, yeah, and I love it when you said building that heartbeat. Um, then let's do some objection handling role play. Um, Sometimes I also hear, "Oh, I'm already 10 years in sales, 15 years of sales. I don't need this," and you will
Well,
have resistance.
Cedric,
So,
I hear it. I hear it all the time. And well, the way customers buy today is not the way customers bought 5 years ago,
yeah,
or 10
true.
years ago. So the way customers buy have changed. That is, I think everybody cannot ignore that. Secondly, is that the offerings, you especially when you're in a tech company, the offerings you bring have also evolved. For people who think that yeah, they can still sell. The same way they sold 5 to 10 years ago, well, probably they will start feeling that that performance is not doing the same, is not getting the same results as it was 5 or 10 years ago. So there is a need for continuous improvement.
Yeah, yeah, love it. And when you hear the top saying, when you talk to either company owners or other, they'll say, "Okay, we have always done it in the same way. What is enablement? We don't really need this." How do you go about these type of conversations?
That is a difficult one.
Yeah.
It is about yeah, getting them to the awareness that there is some need for it, and very often the function or the role as an enabler is expected from the sales leader,
Hmm.
who has already so much on his plate or her
Yeah.
plate.
Yeah.
Getting into the cadence of operational follow-up, getting things managed, onboarding people, or seeking them to expand your team. So what I hear from a lot of sales leaders is that well, sales enablement or improvements, I will do that when time is when there's still time left, but
Yeah.
very often there is no time left.
Yeah.
Um, the challenge here is that sales, so the impact of good sales is only viewed depending on the velocity of the projects you have, but very often it's only viewed 3 months, 6 months, or 9 months, or even longer after.
Yeah.
So when things are not going well, you don't see it immediately. You only see it after a couple of quarters. And I think showing that or going over some recent results can help there. Yeah, triggers can be 2 quarters in a row where targets were not met.
Hmm.
A new product launch which didn't come within the expectation. Some of the salespeople, or maybe when you have only a limited number of people who hit their target, but a majority who doesn't, who don't meet their targets. Well, these are triggers to show, hey, there is a need for it.
Yeah. 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 I definitely agree, and we can go deeper into this. So let's keep this for the next session, I'd say,
Very good.
because I would like to
Mhm.
come back to what you said about, first of all, incremental. Secondly, then the way people buy has changed. So you talk about buyer journey, then probably. So, and you talk about collaboration between marketing and sales. So how do you bring their one consistent enablement strategy?
Well, I do believe that when talking about enablement, you cannot detach marketing and sales. As a matter of fact, a customer doesn't care.
Yeah.
A customer wants to have a consistent message. From an early contact with your organization till the moment they get impact from your services or your products. As such, you need to really align the different interactions with the customer or with a prospect, with marketing and sales. And the contribution of marketing and sales will depend on your go-to-market strategy. If you have an inbound strategy where you take the customer a long path over your marketing, well, their marketing will have a major impact in the interactions with the customer. Sales have less. If you go for an outbound, marketing will be more supporting to create the right materials. And that is why I think the first thing to do is choose a go to market fit, and experiment on what is the best go to market fit for your solution in the specific market you want to target. Otherwise, well, yeah, marketing might shout, go left, and sales
Mhm.
have the conversation, go to right. So if you don't align and you don't align the messages, thing will not work.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And how do you do this and setting up that collaboration? Because as you said, right, marketing might go to the left, at least they have their own targets. Sales might go to the right, they have their own targets, their own cadence, their own way of working. So how do you bring them together, and how do you get them to agree on getting that consistent strategy?
Well, the first thing is having clarity together with marketing. What is the go-to-market strategy
Yeah.
for a particular market? I think that is the first point. Yeah. Secondly is building that customer buying journey together.
Mhm.
Yeah, as a joint team. Sales, strategic marketing, operational marketing, bring them together and build a customer buying journey framework in so where you say, hey, what are the needs of the customer or the prospect in the different buying phases? Secondly, what are the big messages? What are the big ideas I want to convey so that the customer goes into the direction we want them to go? So these are is an exercise you need to do jointly.
Yeah.
And then that is the base for content of where marketing can create a content for in the phases we want them to play, and sales enablement use that content to create collateral for the salespeople in their conversation. But you need that joint customer buying journey and messaging alignment. If not, you you risk to have really activities which are detached.
Yeah.
Secondly, is and that is about the importance of planning. I do believe that in a quarterly or in a monthly planning, sales and marketing leaders should sit together and should look into the reverse pipeline and should look, hey, for the quarters to come, or for this quarter, again, depending on the velocity, but on the quarters to come, how much of the funnel is already filled? How much do we still need to fill? Is this again an inbound or an outbound? And if it's an inbound, then you can start articulating the request to the operational marketing. Hey, for quarter plus two, quarter plus three, we still need quite some leads there to fill the funnel. What are the, let's say, what are the activities you have in your catalog,
Yeah.
so to say, to perform, so that the funnel can be filled. Again, I do think that a reverse pipeline or pipeline management is a joint responsibility of marketing and sales.
Yeah. 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 And definitely on building up that the momentum when you build that funnel, having collaboration, exactly doing those activities. No, in order to challenge you a bit on this, this all sounds pretty top down. While the people that are talking to the clients, are either on the road or behind their phone talking. So, do you involve them in a certain stage to give back on give feedback on the messaging, or how do you go about this?
Well, for sure, I think when building that customer buying journey content, get people from the field involved.
Yeah.
Get people from the field involved, capture or have them actively participating if let's say their time allows it, or collect their knowledge uh, through different ways, and
Hmm.
this can be by just collecting their important feedback during a quarterly meeting, where they bring up that information. They can bring that information to their sales leader, and who is then collecting it and bring it to sales enablement. Or you use modern technology who captures the conversations and brings that content again to one central place.
Yeah, I love it, and there's a lot of extremely useful information there, because when I think back about my career within enablement, there are many people that developed the courses, and you felt there was not any link with how as you said, the market has evolved, or with what really happened during the sales moments, during those conversations, or they saw onboarding as a one session, a one day, and there was not any follow up, not any enablement after this. Um, do you have maybe 2 or 3 tips to really start with enablement, to really
Well,
be successful with this?
Cedric, in what you just said is how do you avoid to detach enablement from the reality?
Hmm.
I was a couple of months ago, already more than 6 months ago, on a gathering with a couple of sales enablement leaders. And some of them, I was really surprised. They were saying they never saw a customer, or they never had customer contact. And I
Hmm.
was saying, how can you do enablement without having customer contact? And if I my strong advice is that when you build a sales enablement team, make sure that these people have been doing the job themselves,
Yeah.
they have, or even continue doing the job. So, in my case, for example, I'm continuing to support one of our biggest customers as a key account director. That is key. So stay in the field, continue to have customer conversations. Because otherwise, you will be perceived as somebody or an organization who built nice things, but is far away from what customer wants, or what the customer conversation look like.
Hmm.
So eat your own dog food, I would say.
Yeah. 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 True. And um, And any other things that you would say? Okay, let's start with enablement. That's the right way.
Mhm. Well, I think so. Besides the uh, besides having, let's say, still customer contact, or having experience with customer contact, test test your content.
Yeah.
Choose a number of believers, but believers who still dare to be critical for what you bring. And have them test the content, and ask for feedback to improve. And I think there, again, by having the evolution of going digital, we have a big advantage that you can improve your materials almost every week. So you hardly need to print something. Maybe you print a conversation guide, or you print some collateral when going to an event, the majority of the interactions happens in behind your PC these days. So when you have collateral, you can change it at when you ad hoc. Yeah, you get feedback from you get valuable feedback from some salespeople. Well, listen to them. If it's valid, change and go for the next version. So don't wait. Where earlier, when you had printed materials, you probably wait 6 months, 12 months for the next version. This is outdated. Yeah, change your materials. Yeah, and go for the next version if you can improve.
Yeah, or waiting 6 months before you have improvement from legal or from other departments within the
Yeah,
organization
yeah,
before you
yeah,
can
yeah.
start. Yeah,
Well, and that is more difficult when you get into a regulated in environment. I understand. So there, it's more difficult. So there, you need to build in again a cadence of checkups, and changes. But if you don't, if you work in a non-regulated environment, yeah, well, change as soon as you get that input for improvement.
yeah, great. Thank you so much, Luc, for your input. It was an extremely useful session. So for the listeners, we'll have a couple of sessions together with Luc. So the next session will go about strategy and building clarity. So this will be a very hands-on session then. Thank you very much, Luc, and see you to the next session.
Okay, it was a pleasure. Thank you. See you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.